What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel, the #1 place for up-and-coming dancers, choreographers, and creatives. Now I know every dancer's worst fear is probably blanking out during class, or even worse, blanking out during a performance on stage. Today I'll be leading you step by step on how to retain that choreography when you're learning it in class, and so that you have it ready and down by groups or by the time you get on stage. If you're looking to remember the choreography more efficiently and also reduce that dreaded blank out during groups, then keep on watching. Now before we jump into the first step, if you're someone who struggles with matching the choreographer or just picking up the moves from the get-go, then I suggest you watch this first video over here on how to just pick up choreography from the get-go. That video is going to help you start with just learning choreography fast and efficiently so you don't waste your time, and also so you don't get all boggled up with all the mishmash of so much going on. Also, be sure to check down below in the description for more free content on how you can improve your dancing today. Now with that being said, let's get to it. So assuming you're already taking class and expanding your vocabulary either through, again, taking class or watching videos, the first step is actually just to watch, learn, and listen. If you watched my last video, you already know that this step is already a big part of learning and retention. The first thing you should always be concerned about is just watching the choreographer or the teacher and just making sure you figure out what they're doing themselves. Focus on their base and stance, their positioning, their lines, their levels, and then on to their dynamic, then their performance, their intention if they give you one, then string it all together as you're learning the choreography so that you eventually end up with this piece that's coherent and also has solid movement quality. Look to understand how the choreographer rides the music. What are they saying to the audience? How are they interpreting the music? How are they moving? How does a bass sound to them? How does a snare sound to them? It really depends on the choreographer themselves, and again, you only really learn that from watching them from the get-go. Again, if this seems a little overwhelming in terms of what to look for exactly when you're learning, be sure to check out that last video. Jumping off the ideas in step 1, step 2 is to establish the choreography's A and B's, aka the pictures. Where does the move start and where does the move end? By establishing your start and end points, not only will you remember the choreography better, but you'll also be cleaner as a dancer because you'll know where you're actually beginning the movement and ending it. Once you've established your pictures, make sure you understand the dynamic, the transitions between your movements, your A to B's. That will make your movement and your moves seem a lot more coherent and put together. Now, no matter how flowy a piece may be, there will always be at least checkpoints that you'll be passing through. And these checkpoints will let you know if you're on track or if you're just being a little bit blurry with your movement. Being able to concisely establish those A, B's, and the A to B's will make you a lot cleaner as a dancer, as well as help you memorize the choreography that much easier. Now, once a segment of the choreography has been taught or a checkpoint has been reached, then you can start to lock in step number 3. Step number 3 is understanding the rhythm. Now I remember from another class I took from Gina Michael when she visited New York, New Jersey, she was emphasizing the rhythm so much. She emphasized if you don't know the rhythm, you probably don't know the moves. But on the flip side, if you know the rhythm, then you'll know the moves and the moves will follow. Having an understanding of the music and the rhythms inside will just make it that much easier to remember the choreography. And oftentimes it's up to us to help break down those rhythms so we can understand them. Now, how I personally go about breaking down rhythms, I actually do it in 3 different ways. The first is by reciting the counts out loud. If you're a count sort of person, verbally saying these counts will allow you to help match up those counts to the moves that you were given. Now the second way is to break the music down into sounds. So we've all heard choreographers teach like this is how they point out and emphasize the music verbally. Now rhythmically, this is probably the closest way that you can emulate the music without actually playing it. Lastly, you can break down the choreography and the moves into verbal actions. For example, the choreography could go like roll into slap, back, right, left, or something like that. While oftentimes a teacher will probably teach it like that at some point or another, you can still just verbally say it to yourself. If the teacher hasn't established those quick actions, either they're using counts or again they're using those sounds, then create your own and say it out loud. The key to all 3 of these methods is that you have to say them out verbally in order to lock them in, and then rehearse them mentally. The deeper understanding you have of the music and the rhythms inside, the better chance you'll have of actually matching the moves and the choreography to the music. Step 4 is to ask the right questions. Not only to the teacher, but maybe to the other dancers in the room or maybe your friend who's taking class with you. At the right time, of course, considering class etiquette. Don't be that guy. Try to stay away from the obvious things that you can learn visually, like is it your left foot? Are you moving your right arm? what is the move here. You want to be as specific as possible with the questions that you ask, so that one, you can improve your problem solving skills and figuring out things visually and just, you know, by listening in, and two, also so that you don't slow down the pace of the class too much and just disturb everybody around you. Don't be that guy. So instead, better questions that you might ask could be, how does the rhythm in this section go? Could you please go over the dynamic from this move to that move? Or how did you transition your weight from this foot over to that side? Meet the teacher halfway and just practice being a good student and also a mindful dancer. So these 4 steps, they don't necessarily have to be done in this order. The important takeaways are that you're essentially watching, you're learning, you're listening, you're paying attention to what they're doing before you do it yourself. Also, again, so that you're taking time to verbally and mentally lock down the rhythms and the movements yourself. Most importantly, practice what you learned in the studio and bring it home. That doesn't mean you have to drill and drill and drill over and over and over again the same choreography. What that means instead is just picking something in that choreography that you might not have down or that you can improve on, and just picking at it for like 10, 20 minutes. Get it better and then move on to the next thing. This especially applies to auditioning for like a team or something. Really try to avoid just drilling and drilling and drilling over and over and over again without focusing on what you're actually trying to improve on. Pick something, improve on it, and then just move on. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more tips, tricks, and just, you know, droplets of knowledge that you can use in your next class, rehearsal, audition, whatever. In the next video, I'm going to be going over how to be an individual while still matching the choreographer. Check down in the description below. I'm going to be adding in more freebies, more free content, more things to just help us as a collective get better at creating, being better dancers, being better choreographers, that whole shebang. And be sure to also drop down any good questions that you might have regarding retention or regarding learning choreo, or even about any of the steps that I went over today. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Peace, peace.